So let's talk about 3 red flags that your realtor isn't working for you. This is a sensitive topic, so I borrowed from Jennifer Beeston, who is a VA lender on the YouTube land. She has a lot of followers. I've been following her for about 6 months. And one of the stories that she talks about in this video was exactly what happened to us when I was a buyer. When we were buyer, one of the agents that we wished that we didn't work with her, but we ended up working with her, and this is one thing that she told us. So I'll share my consumer side of personal experience, and I'll add my professional opinions about what she says in this video. Welcome back to Shawn Realty podcast. My name is Shawn, the realtor guy from Portland, Oregon. So let's dive into it. The first one, she talks about the agent discouraging lower offers. So this is exactly what happened to us. Let's hear what she says.
The agent, let's say it was 300, should say, hey, look, we want to offer 280. You can't do that. What? We want to offer 280. We think the house is worth 280. We want them to pay our closing costs.
So that's what happened to us. It's pretty much the same price range too. We were in a situation, we were buying a home in Southwest Portland. This is 2005. The house that we saw about probably 4 or 5 homes with this agent. And the house that we liked was on the market for good 8 to 9 months. And this market, I suppose some homes sold fast and some homes sat on the market just like this one. It has some issues, sloped roads and, this and that. The seller was kind of overcharging for the upgrades that they did. So we asked our realtor, hey, can we make like a lower offer than the asking price? It hasn't been selling. And that realtor that we ended up working with said, no, you can't do that in this market. You can make a lower price offer in this market. And we didn't know much. We were in a rush. We needed a home. So we ended up, listening to her. And looking back, she costed us minimum $10,000, maximum probably $30,000 at that time. And when we sold that house, we didn't do so well because we overpaid when we bought the house. Believe it or not, after I became a realtor, I was showing a house, I want to say in Hillsboro, and this was about 2015-ish. I ran into her. She didn't recognize me, but I remembered her. And she's still doing business. And when somebody says you cannot make the lower offer without explanation, without, hey, here are the comps, and right now there's another buyer who's kind of on the fence. If you do that, you have a chance to lose that house. Without that explanation, they just say, no, you can't do that. And she can, or you can, the agent cannot back up why you cannot make a lower offer. That's a time that you need to walk away from that agent, which I should have done, which we should have done, but we did not, and we ended up overpaying for the property. So, yeah, it's, to me, so let me add my own opinion. If somebody said, hey, Shawn, we really like this house, and we want to make, $20,000, like $20,000 less than the asking price. I said, okay, I see, that's what you want to make. But if I don't think that that's a good idea, for example, like I said, if there's 2 other or 1 other buyers who are kind of interested, or I see the house is getting a lot of traffic, or I see the price is like lower than what I could see it as, or it has a lot more upgrades than the comparable homes. I mean, obviously, when we're about to make an offer, I'm already pulled the comps. I know what range the house should sell. Lower end price will be really good for the buyer. Higher end is where buyers should cut off. So that's how I approach. That's what I tell all my buyers. So here's the price range of this property, and if you go lower, you have a probably less chance of getting it, especially if in multiple offer situation. If you go high, I wouldn't recommend going above this price range no matter what happens. Even if they get 50 offers, if you go over this price, you're going to have to stay there for like 10 plus years to make up the difference of overpaying right now. And the other thing is that sometimes I know as agent, if I tell them, no, you cannot do that and not write an offer, not only I could, jeopardize losing that client, but sometimes I know that we have to test that market. I mean, we have to give that experience to the buyer. What I mean by that is some buyers have to lose a house or two, and I'm willing to do that for my buyers. What that means that I have to spend, 2 hours to show, 1 hour to show that house and 1 hour to write an offer, maybe another hour to talk to the agent and whatnot. And I know that my buyer is not going to get that house. And I tell them that we have low chance, but I'll be willing to make that offer for you. Because in my mind, in my back of my mind, well, there's maybe 10% chance of getting the house. I mean, if that's the case, that would be great. If you don't write an offer, there's no chance of getting the house, right? You can't sit on the couch and try to go to the first base. You got to get on the bed, right? Box and hold the bat and swing at it. So I'll be happy to do it. But if it's more than like 5 times of lowball offering, maybe I need to let the buyer go, because the buyer is not really listening to my advice, and I could be wasting a lot of time and their time and other people's time. So some buyers, especially in 2021, 2022, before the rate jump, we had to just write some offers for the buyers so that they can see, oh, we didn't get the house. Shawn was right. And then they wait about a month. Shawn was absolutely right, because it sold at what price, much higher than what we made an offer on. And that sometimes is needed to build a trust. I'm covering this one topic pretty long here, but it's most important, one of the most important, because if you overpay, you're going to suffer, as a consumer. Let's move on. I wanted to make a short video, but I kind of got into it. Let's look at the second one. Second one she talks about is false claims that homes will not go VA. And some agent may say, oh, that's not going to go through FHA. I hear that too, actually. That's not going to go VA. Oh, my seller doesn't want to pay the fee. There's so let's hear what Jen has to say about this.
It's never going to go VA. And I'm like, why? What did they say? There was a tear in the screen.
So she talks about her buyer's experience. The same agent, I believe, said that, oh, that's not going to go VA because of the tear on the screen. And she talks about that wouldn't matter. VA wouldn't care about that. Safety and health and safety are the two things that the VA look at. So, for example, the hand railing on a stairs, if that's missing, they're not going to let the loan go through. And she explains if that's the case, they can just put the handrail before the closing. So when they do the appraisal, the VA appraiser can see the hand railing is there and everything goes through. For example, FHA, I had situation. I was representing seller at this time, and it was a apartment unit that wasn't permitted, so it shouldn't have like a stove. I believe the FHA and VA, they both care a lot about the stoves in illegal setting. And we ended up just getting rid of the stove before that appraiser came in because it wasn't permitted. So we got rid of it and it went through. So when the agents say, "Oh, you cannot do that," that's more likely coming from what they heard or that what they experienced once before, without thinking about other possibilities or other solutions. And that's where some agents is just, maybe they're too lazy. I mean, I hear there a lot about lazy realtors. And in my mind, like, am I that agent? So I have to like, I don't want to be that agent. Let's work a little bit more. Let's go a little extra mile. And so when you hear your agent say, "Oh, that's not going to work," that is very dangerous. That's another sign that you may have to walk away from that agent, because I'm still learning after 17 years of selling. What I'm telling you is there's so many different variables, so many different outcomes, so many different scenarios. Not one house is the same, not one sellers are the same, not one listing agents are the same. So there's so many things that could play differently. How do you know whether that screen tear is going to prevent the VA loan to go through or not? So Jen is absolutely right here. I think you want to work with somebody who look at all the possibilities to get you the best deal. Whether trying a lowball offers, or whether it has like roof issue that you know about 90% of chance that the FHA, the appraiser is going to flag that, make it into a condition so the roof has to be fixed to get the loan. Even though your realtor believes that that's a 90% chance, the realtor should advocate for the buyer's wish and just try it. I've actually had a situation. It was in West Lynn. When the appraiser came out, the timing didn't work out, and the roofer was there. So we were out there. I was there too, because we wanted to get a roofing bid because roof was in bad shape. And you can see like a bunch of moss and like shingles look really old. So like Dave's roof van was sitting right in front of the house when I believe it was FHA, the appraiser came. It could be conventional. I'm not sure. It's been so long ago, but the appraiser came out, right? So I'm like, oh shoot. Appraiser is gonna see the roofing contractor, see the roof more closely, and they're going to flag it. That appraiser never flagged that roof. It went through just fine. And so, we're like, oh, we kind of dodged the bullet. But what I'm saying is, if I told that buyer the roof is bad, it's not going to go through FHA, let's not even try, they wouldn't be living in that great house. All right? So that's a second flag, red flag. Let's look at the third.
See that a real estate agent will say to a veteran buyer, well, if you want a house, you can't do VA here.
Yeah, the same thing. I personally don't work with a lot of VA buyers, not because I don't want to, it's because I never really had that many chances. I guess there's some realtors who are just dominating in the VA world. But I'd be happy to help all the VAs because my uncle was a veteran. He was in Vietnam War in South Korea, and I went to Korean Army. I was Korean Army, and I have a huge respect for veterans in this country. So I would love the opportunity to help the veterans get the best deals in Oregon, but I haven't had that many chances. But for me to say certain houses are not going to go through VA, that would be misrepresentation. That would be false claim. That would be misguiding. And again, I wouldn't be doing my best work for even that 5% chance of getting the house, not doing the work by being lazy or, falsely opinionated. I mean, I guess that's what it is. And again, going back to the FHA, I'm just thinking about the big offices where I used to work at. There are 200 agents. Some are like 35-year experience. Some are only like they just got the license 6 months ago. And when you talk to this 20-year veteran realtor, say, yeah, if you have a roof, forget about FHA. You hear that once and that stick in your head, and you think that is the case. Without going through a transaction, you would not know. So I guess there are other things that well, the video is going to get too long. So we're going to stop here. So 3 things. Red flag 1, agents discouraging lower offers. Red flag number 2, false claims that the homes won't go VA or FHA or loan or financing. Red flag 3, agents discouraging VA loan. Oh yeah, let me talk to red flag. Let me talk to you more about that. Discouraging certain lenders or certain loan programs. I think Jen talked about some realtors try to push certain lenders really hard. That's a problem to me. Main reason why I don't partner up with one lender and put my face and her face on a website and have her pay half of that website fee or IDX fee or flyers. So let me explain. I think it's RESPA rule that if realtor and lender, they partner up, if the lender pays half of the flyer or the website or donuts at the open house, if they don't pay and if they pay and they don't put their face there, then that's, I think, against the rule. I think it is RESPA rule. I could be wrong, but so when you see a website or when you see a lender or when you see something, they bring some value, whether it's coffee, donut, website, flyers, whatever, you can assume that lender chipped in some money. That's the first thing I want you to know. The second thing that I want you to know is that, which I don't ever do that. Have I done it? Yes, I have. But do I do that now? I don't. Mainly because there's no guarantee my partner lender can give the best deal to that home buyer. Because that lender could have a good intention, want to give the best deal, but what if the company doesn't offer better deal than the other company? That can happen, right? Because different lenders have different programs, different fee structures. So let's say I team up with On Point. I do have a really good lender there that I like to work with because she gave great deals to my buyers when I had the buyers compare the lenders. So that's why I recommend her and maybe one or two other so that the consumer can make the decision. But let's say I partner up with her and have her pay half of my website fees. And then one day she cannot give the best deal to the buyer and buyer's not happy. Then what? That makes no sense to me because that's kind of against how I run my business. So, in this case, I haven't worked with Jen before, but her information is good because I've been watching her videos for, like I said, about 6 months or so. So if you're a VA home buyer, I would highly encourage you to talk to her or her team and your local recommended VA lenders. There aren't that many VA lenders that I know of. I only know maybe 2. And when I talk to that lender, I'm not going to say his name, but he says, well, I'm better than the national VA lender because I can combine with the local VA programs and give that buyer better deal. That's what he claims. But it sounds right? But at the same time, he could be charging more fee on the main loan than what Jen might charge. So how would I know? I haven't done that many VA. I don't know if I've done VA maybe but one or twice in my last 17 years. I don't recall. So what I would recommend then at this point right now is I will have you talk to Jen's team. I'll put the link so that you can find their information. Her name is Jennifer Beeston, Beeston. And I'll just go ahead and give my local guy who does VA too. Maybe talk to both of them. His name is Vince Kingston. Kingston, Kingston, and he's pretty famous in Oregon. So you can talk to and compare both. I don't get kickbacks from neither of them. I don't have any affiliation with neither of them. So I want you to compare the loan and get yourself the best loan. And I'll be actually curious. Is Vince really the best guy for Oregon, the Portland VA, or is Jen the best gal in this case? VA lenders. Because all I care about is my buyers getting the best deal. You don't have to be my buyer. I just want you to get the best deal. That's why I'm making videos like this. So that's the main reason why I don't push certain lenders unless they have the track record of saving my buyers a bunch of money. That's the only reason why I've been recommending On Point Lender, because On Point, the local credit union, has been continuously getting better deals than the brokerages from my experience. Whenever I can, I ask my buyers, hey, what did they offer you? What's their fee? If they say, I'm confused comparing these two programs, let me look. I'm like, well, they give you a better rate, but they charge you more fee if you're going to stay. So I try to give my own opinion. Even I'll try to help my buyers compare the loan, which I'm not really qualified to do, but at least I've seen enough. I can give my opinion so my buyers can make the better decision. So when you see these signs, the one that concerns me the most is if your buyer's agent doesn't know how to explain why you shouldn't make a lower offer. To me, that's the biggest red flag. Just run away as far as you can. And I'll end the video here. It became a longer video than I thought, but again, if you have any questions in Portland, Oregon market, buying or selling or investing, I'll be happy to guide you or consult you. 503-515-4499. Thanks so much for watching. Hit the like button and subscribe. Yay! And I'll see you on the next video. Have a great week.